thank you for doing this and being here today, because this is what's going to make all the difference for us winning. And I think the reason you're all here today is the same reason that I am here today and I'm getting in this governor's race, because we need to work together to create a Minnesota that's going to be more just and more fair and more prosperous for everyone in the state. And I think that's the fundamental value we can all agree on. When Governor Plenty this last week vetoed general assistance medical care, have you guys been following this whole debate? 125 votes in the state house, really reflecting where Minnesotans are. Only 9 Republicans voted no. That this decision of him to get rid of that program not only crossed an economically, fiscally irresponsible line, but a moral line in Minnesota. And Minnesotans have been rising up against that all across the state. We need to win this governor's race because of that. We know who the problem is now. It is Governor Plenty. And we need a governor who is not only going to deal with all the right issues around health care and education, making sure that we have equity in our court system and in our justice system, but also is going to take on, at a fundamental level, what's been driving Governor Plenty and the policies he's pursued. And that's this idea that we're all going to be better off if we're just left to our own devices. It's that fundamental philosophy that this election has to be about, because we all know in this room that the way that we're going to turn it around and do all the things we want to do as Democrats is change that philosophy to be about what's always made us successful in the past, and that is that we do owe some obligations to each other, and we ought to step up and take personal responsibility to fulfill those obligations. And that's what I believe, absolutely. That's what my public service has been about, and that's why I want to be your next governor. How are we going to win this thing? I think there's 2 things that we got to keep very clear in our minds. The first thing is that I think as Democrats, and we've learned this at the federal level, we've learned it at the state level, is that unless you have a very clear vision of where you want to go, you're not going to get there. Last year I stood up with a bunch of people in this room, in fact, and said it's not okay that any child in this state goes without health care when they go to bed at night. That can't be the case. And as a result of that, even with this Just Say No governor, even in a highly partisan environment, we passed coverage for 20,000 more Minnesota kids in Minnesota and created a public option for all of them. Now, is that enough? Absolutely not. But is that the direction we needed to go? Yes, and it's because we had a clear vision. We knew where we wanted to go. That's the kind of leadership I can offer to you. The second thing that I think is really important, we've lost several elections in a row, and I think the reason is because we have put up the establishment candidate over and over and over again. I think how we're going to win is to embrace the future. The problems that we had, the answers that we had 15 years ago, they're not going to cut it anymore. This is a more diverse state. This is it's going to be an older state. We're living in a global economy with a lot of new immigrants coming in. We need a governor who understands that the questions that we need to be asking are those that are looking 15 years in the future. I think that I can offer that to you as your next governor, and I'd really be honored to earn your support. Thank you so much.